Imagine a group of workers who are experienced, skilled, flexible and highly motivated. Many are qualified to degree standard. They're invariably fluent in another language, can manage rapid change and have long experience of other cultures. Ideal employees. They'd have no problem finding work, surely. Wrong. A recent Home Office survey found that well over 60% of them never achieve paid employment in this country. Who are they? Refugees. On arrival, refugees tend to bring very little, at least in terms of material possessions. But history is littered with their extraordinary contributions of other kinds.
Our founder was a Russian refugee who came to this country, and he literally had a tray round his neck with his goods on and a sign, everything for a penny. The sign actually said, don't ask the price, because in fact he couldn't tell you, he didn't speak a word of English. And from there it's turned into the multi-million-pound corporate that it is now. All staff have to go by a set criteria. We're looking for people who can communicate, work within a team, be well presented and generally can provide good customer care. 2 refugees now are permanent members of staff and they're getting on really very well.
Dr. Amra Pachuka is typical of modern refugees. She had been a doctor in Bosnia for 18 years before her family's life fell apart. Forced to leave with her children, her husband still in the camps, she arrived in Britain 3 years ago. In Bosnia, she'd been a senior doctor supervising the assessment of people's pensions.
And don't forget that you are 92 years old. Don't forget.
I stay in this office until 1992 when the war started in my town, and I left with my 2 children and started to live as refugee in Croatia coast. I didn't stop to work as doctor because they need plenty of volunteer for refugee people, and I started to work for 6 months.
It soon became clear that ordinary life was growing impossible and her family's situation ever more vulnerable. They had no alternative but to leave and seek protection abroad.
For first time when I arrived in England, it was a big shock for me because I really came for short time, for 6 months, while probably things needs to be sorted in my country. But how time is going on, I wasn't sure that really will be any solution to go back because I lost all my property. I heard that my husband was in the camp, and suddenly I make new decision, and I try to find way how can my diploma will be recognized here, and how can I find the job here. I know, I looking you during the night.
She soon found voluntary work with local GPs, and last year was appointed a junior hospital doctor in the Department for Elderly Care at the Cumberland Infirmary.
I think our nervousness about language problems turned out to be without foundation. She's got on very well with the patients and the staff. She's learnt a lot as she's gone along, but we've also learnt from her. And she's been a joy to work with, and also been a great stimulus in the department.
In what respects?
Well, she's obviously older than the normal SHOs that we have, and she's had a lot of lifetime's experience, and she gives another dimension when we discuss clinical problems, but also other problems that patients have. She can relate to her background, a Bosnian experience, which always adds to the discussion. I'm Dr. George. I work with Dr. Billett.
Pleased to meet you, lad. Aye.
Good.
But my doctor is...
Soon after arriving, Dr. Pachuca contacted the British medical authorities in order to try to establish her credentials.
What am I demonstrating?
But with all her diplomas and certificates left behind in her flat in Bosnia, this proved difficult.
You know, when I left my town, I didn't know that I left forever. I think that I left just for a few days and go back. And the people who pushed me from my flat didn't allow me to take anything. When I came to England, as well, it's problem because I have not any document. When I was in contact with my mother-in-law, she knows what means my diploma for me. She has a double key and came to the flat and took everything what I need. She stole documents and everything.
You could argue that, particularly dealing with elderly people, perhaps sick elderly people, that it's nice to have a doctor that's had a lot of experience themselves. Perhaps you could say it's much better than perhaps having somebody that's had a very sheltered existence and just come out of university.
You surprised me from the best way. It is marvelous time in one way to learning medicine and do everything what English doctor do. And in the same time, it is very hard job.
I'm an electronics engineer, and I do sort of like hardware and software design. I came from Iraq about 4 years ago. First I was in London and I did like English classes. I went to different schools, to learn English. After that, I got on a course, an MSc course in Newcastle University in electronics engineering, which is was my first degree. I came top on the MSc group, which was about 10 students. Since then, I worked for British Gas as a contractor for a year, and after that, I'm now employed in the Northeast in a small electronics firm. You've got to work hard. You must never give up, because there's always a program to improve yourself. You can always find a way, training programs or going to the universities. There's a lot of these programs around actually. But you don't expect somebody to come and knock on your door and tell you, look, come, I've got a job for you. Because basically there are lots of people unemployed there. So you've got to compete. You've got to show yourself useful. And I think you've got to work very hard for it. You never give up.
I did the same job in Bosnia. I was driving the excavator machine, the same like this one. And I was on many sites, on building roads, and I was digging trenches. When war started, I stuck in Croatia. Then I was put in a concentration camp through the international organization. I came to Britain. I'm in Britain about 2 years, and I learned the English. The most important thing is knowing English and communicate with the people. Then I did my certificate for the construction of machines. Then last summer I had a job for 6 weeks. I've got 2 children, and they just came to Britain a couple of months ago, and they are happy. They are okay.
Many refugees are ideally placed to work in service industries, and particularly the public sector. Samira Tariq has been employed by the Benefits Agency as an administrative assistant for 3 years now, having first seen it advertised in the local job centre. Because she and her family fled from a Commonwealth country, she was able to work for the civil service. Her husband Tariq, formerly a highly successful businessman, now drives a taxi.
Samira, at some point today, can you see that solicitors, you need to make a telephone call to find out the national insurance number. Because I've done No, I did a search on the system, I couldn't find this.
In Pakistan, we had 3 businesses, really. And mainly Tariq was running 2 of them, and I was running the 3rd one. And it was actually a supermarket. And I was the first lady in Pakistan to run a supermarket, really. So it was good, really good experience. But I was working there, but still, you know, you didn't have to work here. It's a difference here that when you work here, you have to do all your housework as well. But over there, we had 4 servants, really. 2 were coming daily and 2 were full-time, staying at home. So I didn't really have to do anything at home, really. Didn't even have to take care of the kids.
Well, I'm Samira's line manager, and I've known her since she started here in the DBC. And employing her has worked out very well. There were a few difficulties at the beginning, mainly because of the cultural differences, I think. But she has integrated very well now and is very much a part of the office.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Well, it has been a big plus for us having somebody here who actually does speak 4 languages. We have used her in the past where we need an interpreter, or perhaps somebody who has to be medically examined who would like a lady of a similar cultural background present. I think it can only be good for the agency. The wider the mix of people that we have, we're bound to benefit because it reflects the population as a whole. If you're actually working on a day-to-day basis with people from different cultural backgrounds, it helps to give you an understanding of the problems that people in the community face.
It's up to you. Nothing is impossible. That's what I think now. If you try hard, if you go for it, you'll get it. So I really, you know, I'm proud that I've got it. Everybody is amazed. People who are living here for years and years, when they come to us and they say, "Oh, you've got your house within 2 years." I said, "Yes, we did." So it's just we really tried hard, and God helped us.
During their first 6 months in Britain, when refugees are not allowed to work, Samira and her husband Tariq spent every day looking for future employment. After a spell working for local government, Tariq decided to opt for the taxi trade.
I decided to go into self-employment because I wanted to work in a very free environment whenever I feel like I can work. Plus, if you work for yourself, you can earn more. I had the opportunity to buy a black cab in October 94. I bought my own black cab. But before that, I used to drive a rented one. On average, I'm working about between 65 to 70 hours a week. 65 to 70 hours a week because you got to work. Because taxi is such a thing where you got to be mentally prepared, because if you work 6 to 7 or 8 to 9 hours like office, you won't be able to survive, you know. So you got to be prepared working 10 hours a day. We are doing quite all right. We know what we have lost, and we know we cannot get it back. What we have lost is such a loss, it's not repairable at all. And we don't want any changes at all. We need a very simple life, and that's it. Because what we have seen, we know that we won't be able to see it again.
Whenever refugees flee their countries, they arrive to the UK, for example. It's very difficult initially to believe that they have arrived to safety. It is an inner struggle within them. It's true that they have arrived to where they could feel safe, where they could prove that they have potentials. That's why they try to put massive effort from their experience or from the past into their current job. And you'll find them coming over always with great ideas, with innovation, just to prove that they have as well much to give.
Daoud Zaoura, a Palestinian, has been stateless all his life. He now works for an organisation providing advice and support for homeless people.
Actually, homelessness is similar to refugees in their own country. My job or my experience in the past, my travel across, has helped me to prove that I have skills and potential, provided me with some knowledge and awareness with wider spectrum of the refugees or homelessness issue. Yeah, it helped me a lot.
The appointment of Daoud has worked out really well for the organisation. It's been one of our best appointments, and I think we've all been delighted by the results that we've got from his work. Daoud has brought with him a wealth of experience and actually enriched the organisation and brought a lot of new skills to us and a new way of looking at things. I think often organisations can get used to looking at things in the same way, think this is the way problems must be solved. And sometimes someone brings in a completely different way of looking at something, and it's worked out extremely well in Daoud's case.
I think the employers could play a very strong part to give them the starting point and to shadow them within the workplace. If they could bear with that, I'm sure they will get the best workers they might ever have come across.
We can only learn off each other. And I think if you want to remain insular, non-progressive, stay stuck in your own little rut, don't employ refugees. If you want to be progressive and if you want to actually move forward, look at the skills people will bring to your organisation. Not just refugees, but people. Refugees have a lot of those skills that you need. Use them. That's selfish, but use them and progress.
These are just some of the 20 million people worldwide who have suffered the pain of being forced to flee their country because of threats to their lives and their freedom. They now need the opportunity to realise their capabilities and potentials. As we rely more and more on skills, their abilities are needed to enrich our workplaces. Refugee organisations around the country can help both employers and refugees to do just that.